What's going on, gang? Ollie's back, driving through traffic, heading to work. I put out a video a few days ago about the decisions and the ones you don't make and how they get made for you. And I gave a bunch of very generic examples of the subtle decisions that most of us are not aware of, the ones that we fail to make because we don't know they exist, and how that can negatively impact us. And I realized, I should have probably been more specific with my small but loyal fan base here. You can choose to think about what you want, or you can choose to think about what you have. That's a really subtle choice, isn't it? It's a small difference. And it's something that most of us would never consider. When we're pining or craving something, our mind is focused in a one-pointed manner on that one thing. And by focusing our mind on that thing, or by allowing our mind to get focused on it, because oftentimes it's not our choice, we don't make that choice, by allowing the mind to remain focused on this object, we intensify the craving. It consumes us, and all we can think about is the object of our desire and how unhappy we are that we don't have it. But there is a choice there. Because you can focus your mind, or allow your mind to be focused on what you wish you had, or you can take control of the mind with a firm hand and redirect it and focus instead on the things you have. So instead of thinking about the newest iPhone that you want, imagine if your old piece of shit iPhone were suddenly destroyed. That would be a mighty inconvenience. And even though it's not the newest iPhone, you'd probably be pretty pissed off that it got flushed down the toilet. So obviously your old iPhone is pretty good. And yeah, the new one is better. But it's a marginal difference. And in all likelihood, you've had these types of cravings before, and you've managed to satisfy some of those cravings. So you know what happens after. You know after you get the newest iPhone that you'll be excited and into it for maybe a week or two, and then eventually it will become just the same as your old iPhone. All the new features, the bigger screen, the higher resolution, whatever it is that attracted you to the newest iPhone, all of that stuff will become commonplace. The novelty will wear off, and you're going to be right back to square one, probably craving or pining for something else. Either a gadget or, something. A vacation, an event. It could be anything. The point is, this is a choice that most of us don't know we have. And the choice is, do I focus on what I wish I had, what I don't have, what I want, or do I focus on all of the things that I already have and all of the things that I would be very upset if I suddenly lost them? Now, this is a bit of a hack, I think. It's worked for me, and I know it's worked for other people as well. But it's definitely a hack, because every time you start to crave, every time you start to feel like, oh man, I really want that PlayStation 4 or the newest phone or whatever it is that you're pining for, if you become aware that you're craving, that you're sort of focusing your mind on the object of your desire, you can, at that point, redirect your mind and deliberately think about something else that you are happy to have. And in this way, you might not forget about your craving, and your mind may return to it in a few moments, but just by delaying it and stopping it and interrupting it for a few seconds, you are disrupting the pattern which has developed over decades of conditioning. The pattern being the cycle of desire, craving, striving to attain the object of your desire, and then either failing, which brings on more suffering, or succeeding, which brings on a very brief respite from desire, and then it just continues on, right? That cycle is a pattern, and it's been conditioned into us by a variety of sources. But the truth is that we have conditioned ourselves, because how we respond to external stimulus is our choice, another choice that we probably don't realize we have. We are not slaves. Unlike other creatures on this planet, Unlike the vast majority of creatures on this planet, humans are unique in that we are self-conditioning. We are the arbiters of our conditioning, if we so wish. Because the external and internal environments will exert pressures on us, but there's this little light in here somewhere, and this force of will, which is described as the gift of free will in the Bible. And I like to call it the self, but it can also be called a variety of things. The Atman, pure consciousness or pure being. It's what you are underneath all the bullshit. And that thing gets to choose. It has the power to decide. And it has the power to transform. And that is the treasure of treasures I spoke about in my previous Daily Bread video, where I quoted the oracle at Delphi. The treasure of treasures. You are the treasure of treasures. It's not in you. You are it. But, unfortunately, you and me and everybody else, we've been led to believe that this is what I am. This body. Or Oliver is what I am, because that's my name. That's my identity. Or a father is who I am. Or a husband. Or any other number of roles that I can identify with. We get tricked into believing that this is what we are. But in actual fact, or at least in my personal experience, direct personal experience, we are both far less than these things and, at the same time, far more. The power of this core of selfness that you are and that I am and that each of us is that we get to choose. If you remember Pavlov, this is where classical conditioning comes from, the work of Dr. Pavlov, Pavlov's dogs. He taught his dogs to drool at the ring of a bell, simply by introducing the right circumstances and the right stimulus. And there is no way that a dog was going to go, no, I know he's tricking me, I'm not drooling this time. The dog doesn't have that option. It's not there. We're not just slaves to instincts, we're not slaves to stimulus, we're not slaves to conditioning. We can be, and often we are, but we don't have to be. We have this great power within us to choose how we think, what we think about, how we react. And that is a precious gift. And most of us go our whole lives without realizing that this gift is there within us the whole time. So, that was a lengthy rant. Just to get to one point, which I got to quite early on. And then I went on a nice little detour. So the point is this. You can choose to think about the things you want, or you can choose to think about the things you have. Whatever you focus your mind on is going to change your experience. If all you do is think about the things you desire, you are going to experience that inner pain of craving, of wanting something, that feeling of being incomplete, the feeling of anticipation of, when am I going to get it? Oh, I'm going to get it this weekend, I'm so excited. Which feels good, admittedly. But for the most part, we're just dissatisfied that we don't have what we want. If we focus on the things that we already have, and imagine what we would feel like if suddenly they were taken from us, or destroyed, or lost, suddenly we realize that maybe we don't need the newest iPhone. Maybe I'm happy with my current iPhone. Maybe my Dodge I Just Don't Caravan is working just fine, thank you. Because if I didn't have it, I would be screwed, and my whole family would be screwed. So that's just another little trick that I use. I picked it up somewhere along the way, and it's served me well. It's allowed me to delay gratification for years in some cases. I'll go years wanting something, and I will not give in, and for the most part the cravings go away because I can redirect my mind, and sometimes I can rationalize myself out of it and say, when are you ever going to use this? When are you going to have time to sit down and play 4 hours of video games? with the life that you lead, right? And that is usually enough to stop me in my tracks. And then I'm like, yeah, whatever. So that's just a little trick that I use. Next time you're experiencing strong craving for something, maybe you can try it out and see if it works. Thanks for joining me on this drive to work. Have yourself a good day and live well, my friends.